Well, good afternoon, friends, and welcome back to the Firefall Spark Children's Ministry podcast. I'm your host, The Pondering Post, and I'm glad you're with me today. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening to the podcast. I'm continuing to develop them as I go, so thank you so much for your patience. Thank you for your loyalty. Thank you for your prayers. You know, I was talking to a leader the other day, a really seasoned veteran. And she was venting about a lesson she had just taught this last Sunday. She said, I have 5 incredible points. I had a cool experiment and a wow object lesson. She said, but when I asked the kids what they learned, they only remembered the blue glitter explosion. If you've been there, you're not alone. It's really the single biggest trap we fall into as leaders, mistaking the transfer of information for transformation. We try to fit those 5 amazing points in one lesson, and what happens? The children remember nothing clearly. It's like the blind man and the elephant. They all see a different aspect rather than a single core truth. And that's why today we're focusing on the most important strategic step in preparation, and that's identifying the single core truth. Think of it this way. Your lesson is a flashlight. It's not a chandelier. A chandelier gives off a lot of scattered, beautiful light. A flashlight focuses all of its energy on one single, brilliant spot. The core truth is that single spot. It's the one biblical concept. If the children remember anything, and nothing else on Monday than this, they will remember this one thing. It's the filter for everything else you do. Let's use a quick example. If your lesson's about Daniel in the lion's den, now, you could talk about fasting. You could talk about courage. You could talk about faith. You could talk about political intrigue. You could talk about how God moved in that moment and in those circumstances. That's a chandelier. But the focus core truth could be God protects us even when we are scared. And once you have that sentence, your work's cut out for you. Every prop, every story you use on that theme, and every transition must serve that one idea. My mentor, Randy, used to tell me, service is a funnel. One core truth. Everything points to that ending. Everything points down to Jesus Christ. Everything points to that. And this brings us to the concept from my book, The Confident Leader, called the prop critique. It's a question you must ask yourself. Does this prop or this illustration, this story reinforce the single truth, or does it distract from it? I always had a rule that if my object lesson overshadowed my message, I would tone it down or I wouldn't do it and replace it with something that wouldn't overshadow the message. You don't want to have a disconnect in service. You want it to flow. The prop is the illustration, not the point. I'll say that again. The prop is only the illustration, the vehicle to share the truth, not the point. We want the children to remember the gospel concept that it represents. Not just the cool visual effect or the silly story, but those are fun and those are good and they are important and they have their place. But there's a balance. If a great idea or a fun prop doesn't immediately or obviously reinforce your core truth, you have the permission as the children's leader, the children's pastor, the Sunday school teacher, the parent, the responsibility to simplify and let it go. Simplicity isn't the opposite of creativity. Simplicity is the ultimate guard of the message. We don't water down our message. We present it in a way so it's understood. So for this week, I want to challenge you. Don't start by gathering props. Start by finishing just one sentence. As a matter of fact, take this sentence and write it on a sheet of paper and stick it right by your desk. On your wall, someplace where you're going to see it. This is the question. This is the sentence. If my kids remember one thing this week in kids' church, in Sunday school, at home, in the class, it will be this. Fill in the blank. Friend, let's commit to flashlight clarity this week. Now, tomorrow we're going to talk about how to leverage your unique leadership style, whether you're a performer, a storyteller, or a teacher, to deliver that one core truth in a way only you can. So, thank you so much for checking into the Firefall Spark Children's Ministry podcast today. I'm blessed to have you here, and I pray blessings on you, and may God just richly anoint you in your ministry. On the Pondering Post, have a blessed day, and I'll see you tomorrow.